I want to thank all of you for coming. People are here from different chapters of my life. Cleveland chapters, and Detroit chapters, Toledo chapters.
Anderson Parkway.
That's right. You're all representative of all the support I have felt in life and in my Jesuit life. And it means the world to me. And this is a great new chapter in my life, about which I am so excited. And it's wonderful because I'm not going alone, right? Physically, in many ways, I'm going alone, but I'm going and bringing you with me. I'm a big fan of vicarious kind of experience, and I'm glad to bring you in my heart with me. But it goes the other way too, and that's what I'm excited about.
Don't cry.
My 2 weeks there were only 2 weeks, but they were wonderful. And I can't wait to come back. As I go there with stories of the people who are meaningful in my life here, I can't wait to come back to tell you about the people who are going to become so important in my life there. So it's a great, wonderful world that is connected. And as a Christian, as a Catholic, I believe it's especially connected in the love of God. So I'm really happy about that. So I'd like the person who's responsible for this to say a few words. Marcella wishes she could be here.
In spirit.
Tim Kosicki, Father Tim Kosicki, who's the provincial superior. Tim and I knew one another quite a while, but we lived together in theology, became good friends there, and that meant that I was on his radar screen.
Thank you, Mark. I'm glad that we remembered your mother, Marcella, who you know is with us here in spirit tonight. I want to start with a story. I don't know if any of you saw this in the news, but it happened about a month and a half ago that about 8 Franciscans, they were very new in the order, decided that they so wanted to emulate the spirit of St. Francis of Assisi that they literally decided to go out on a walk across, I think, Virginia and Washington, D.C., carrying only their habits, their sandals, and a change of underwear. And they said they were going to beg for everything. And it's caused a lot of interest because people would see them on the side of the road. They go to them for spiritual conversation, for confession, and all of that. And it's really lifted the spirits of people. And someone said to me, would Jesuits ever do that? And I thought, well, I think if a Jesuit showed up at someone's door saying, well, poor Jesuit, all I have is my habit, a change of underwear, the person would say, how much is this going to cost you? The Jesuit vocation, we have to love, we love St. Francis of Assisi. I took my final vows on that feast. And Francis's love to be like the poor and with the poor is astounding. Ignatius saw a radical Jesuit doing something quite differently. Ignatius never wanted us to just strip ourselves of everything because he knew we needed that for our education. For a Jesuit to do what those Franciscans did, it was to let go of his culture, his language, his everything, to go to another country, another world, to bring the gospel, good news through education where it was needed. And that really is, if you want to know the heart of a Jesuit vocation, that's what it is. So it was, Marty is a dear friend. We were ordained together. We were at Loyola Marymount University, which is really she out there. On a bluff overlooking the Hollywood Hills.
It was built on a bluff.
Literally and figuratively. And I said to Martin, someday we're going to start a new educational initiative in Tanzania. Would you be interested? And he didn't look at me like I had 6 heads. And it's interesting that from the minute I mentioned that, he talked about literally dreaming about Tanzania. Let me tell you a little bit about Tanzania. The Jesuits have really only been there in the past 20 to 30 years. And we were very instrumental in one of the newest, largest schools in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, which is the largest city. It was such a successful enterprise that the government of Tanzania came to the Jesuits and said, we're going to give you 500 acres in the capital city. Do in Dodoma, the capital, what you did in Dar es Salaam. And that's what's happened. Well, Martin and I kept talking about Tanzania, and we thought this would happen someday, but we didn't know when. I happened to be in Rome in March as a young baby provincial. I had to go to the new provincial colloquium, which we refer to as obedience school. And that's where I learned exactly how to be a superior. And while I was there, I was with the former Detroit provincial, Joe Dowse, who was instrumental in securing funding from a variety of foundations, mostly Canadian, to build the new campus in Dodoma, Tanzania. And Joe said to me, just right there on the spot, he said, we have the funding, we have the buildings. If only we had an American Jesuit in education, that would almost double the funding because they'd be excited that the U.S. was sending not only money, but was sending its expertise. And I said, I think we have that person. I don't know if he's ready now, but let's give him a call. And I got
6 o'clock in the morning.
I just couldn't wait any longer. We got him up at 6 in the morning, and we set a phone call for that day. We talked to him about 3 hours later, and Martin said yes on the spot. Of course, generally when one of us gets a call from Rome, we always say yes. And there was a wonderful phrase that grew out of that conversation. This Joe Dowse, who was involved in securing the funding for the campus, said, you know, Martin, you're a past headmaster of the school, past assistant principal of the school. You have a doctorate in classroom anthropology, so you know teacher education. You are the perfect person for this job. It's as if you are in the crosshairs of Providence. And Martin heard those lines and brought tears to his eyes because Joe was on the phone and I said, what's he doing? And Joe said, he's crying. What's he doing now?
It's not something I do
And from that, Martin's mission was born. And at our Providence Days in Cleveland, before Martin Schreiber's ordination, we missioned Martin and Jim Haiti, who also said, Jim Haiti. But until always that year, to Boynton is going to be going to Haiti and others abroad. So this is very exciting for us as Jesuits to have one of our own brothers go and do this work. I was a year in East Africa. I was working with refugees in northern Uganda, the Sudanese refugees. That was right after I was ordained, so I had a wonderful experience there. So I can send Martin there with some experience of living in East Africa. And I really would encourage you to go. It will be a little more primitive, but I'm sure he'll take you on a safari or up Mount Kilimanjaro or some exciting destination like that, and to keep in spirit the mission that he is now undertaking. So thank you, Martin. And we salute you. We should all raise a glass.
I'll just...
to Martin and his new mission. Here, here, here.
Thanks so much.
Now, Martin always used to talk about my sister did this, my sister did that. We said, Martin, you are exaggerating. He said, I have 9 sisters. Let me just see a show of hands. I'd like to know. I only have one. Sheila. Let's bring them all up.
Yeah.
And Debbie, there's a camera.
So
No, just video. Just video.
No, we don't have Sheila, and we don't have Molly.
Yeah.
Sheila and...
Martin also has a brother with 9 sisters.
So, okay, now just to rehearse this. Okay, raise your hand when I say your name. Sheila. Okay, Sheila, raise your hand. Sheila. And then Marcia's not here. Kathy. Maureen. Holly. Julie. Michelle. Tony. The baby's born. Okay.
the big baby, the cry baby.
And now I'll go walk up the stairs and wave.
Anybody has a puppy that